Wealth, fame, power. Three weebs, possessing absolutely none of those things, decided to set out upon a quest to discuss the most famous series in anime and manga history, One Piece.
You want to say yayo yayo?
Are we gonna do Dream It, Don't Give It Up, and then our names?
No. It's way too much of a pain in the ass.
Yeah, it is.
It should be short.
Welcome back to Weebkend, your weekly
Ish.
anime. Damn it, Sam.
Just say our
Just go for it.
weekend-based podcast or something. I don't know.
It's been like a month since the last
Yeah,
one, but
that's
whatever.
Welcome back to Weebkend, your hopefully favorite anime podcast. On this episode, we're going to start talking about One Piece. This is going to be an ongoing series where we go arc by arc, starting with the East Blue.
That's right, pirates. This is now a One Piece podcast.
Yayo.
Dreaming.
Don't give it up me. And only me.
Okay. Everyone else, give up on your dreams and die. All right. So we're going to go in order, and this is kind of a blend of both the manga and the anime. So we're going to start with the East Blue Saga, and according to the wiki, which we're not including fillers, that is the Ramnace Dawn arc, Orange Town, Syrup Village, Baratier, Arlong Park, and Log Town, or Rogue Town. I always thought it should be Rogue Town, but they always translate it as Log Town.
Well, it's because prologue. Epilogue.
I always thought it was just Rogue.
It's the prologue for Luffy and it's the epilogue for Roger.
It's like the weird translations in manga with the L's and the R's, like for a whole bunch of time with Attack on Titan, and people are like, no, it's not Levi, it's Revi. Because some dumbass fan translator was like, no, it's Revi.
Well, remember, you also have Zoro and Zoro.
Oh, yeah. I think that was mostly because of copyright, though. Yeah, in America specifically. Like, there's a lot of that, too, with, like, JoJo, because a lot of the characters are based on, like, bands and other, like, music stuff.
I guess.
Like, one of the characters is, like, Santana. And then, like, in the English, it's San Viento. And it's like, no, you're just missing the point. Anyway, One Piece.
Yes.
Yeah, we talked in the first episode, like, how we're all big One Piece fans, especially Caesar and me. So we figured that we would just, have our own series about talking through One Piece and discussing all of it. Caesar, you want to get it going?
Remember, everyone, Nami is best girl.
No.
Actually,
well, in East Blue, Nami is best girl.
I don't know. I feel like Zoro is best girl.
Zoro does canonically have the biggest chest of anyone in the series.
Yeah.
And I myself am more of a backside type of guy, but, what my motor buddy
is. Then you want Alvida's dump truck in the first episode.
You know what? She is...
the slime fruit.
Yeah.
Slim fruit.
I was going to say, you know how some people feel like they can identify with a character in animes and stuff like that? I definitely identify with her. I mean, that's me. When I see that on the screen.
Getting bitch slapped by Luffy.
I mean, listen. He's a strong man. Gets me going. But anyways, no. But yeah, no, when I saw her in the original, and then of course after she had her fruit, which spoilers, it's going a little forward ahead in the saga, but it was just like, why? You should have just kept her thick.
I mean, I get that. Like, I was kind of disappointed because it was like a unique character design versus like
Nami's face plastered on something.
Yeah, Oda has like 3 kinds of female designs. He has
bombshells, old ladies,
hags, and kids.
Yeah, that's actually true.
Yeah, it's not the most creative, but we like the designs he does give us, though.
I was going to say he's definitely more for storytelling and expanding his universes than drawing women, but it's fine. No issues there. Anyways, back to Ramnace Dawn.
Yep. So we start out, and it's like Alvida's pirate crew, and she's like, "Oh, I'm the most beautiful woman in the world," and she's like, large.
Yeah, like myself. Continue.
But I mean, she's very obviously not, or at least not by traditional standards, and she's very like vain. And then she like beats the shit out of her own crew, including Kobe, who's just a whiny little bitch for the first arc.
And she dresses like a cowgirl,
Yeah.
with a club for some reason. That's her weapon of choice, is a
Yep.
club.
Because it's nice and elegant like her. But so they find this barrel out at sea, and it turns out that Luffy, like, he was in a dinghy that capsized, and then he just went into the barrel and fell asleep. And so they bring that on board because they think it's like beer or something, and then he wakes up and just like proceeds to beat the crap out of like two of her people.
Not intentionally. He just kind of springs out of the barrel
And it just happens
hit them.
to yeah.
Yeah.
Hadouken there.
I do think I think it's a great introduction to his character, though. He's so like carefree and kind of stupid.
Yeah.
Like, oh, you know, and then you find out later that he has the devil fruit, and like if he had like gotten the water, would have drowned. And he's like, yeah, whatever. I'll go into this barrel. And he knows nothing about sailing, which is really funny.
He's not a good pirate.
No.
He's the best pirate.
All he has is like a dream, and that's about it.
So we get that flashback to when he was younger with Shanks's crew in Goa Kingdom, but what's the name of the village again?
Fuchsia Village.
Right.
Which translates to Windmill Village. Because there's windmills in the village.
And you've got Makino's bar, and Shanks is around, his crew, and Luffy's little kid who wants to be a pirate because we don't really know why at that point. He just does.
Because Shanks is cool and he wants to be like Shanks.
I will say, though, when you're doing that flashback and you see him trying to prove himself, like, oh man, I totally can join you guys and be a pirate. He literally stabs himself like right under the eye. Be like, see how tough I am? I'm like, jeez, fucking psycho.
It's like, yeah, that scar that Luffy has, he gave it to himself.
To prove a point.
Mm-hmm.
True.
And then, like, Shanks, you know, just brushes him off, and then Luffy accidentally eats the devil fruit, and that starts the whole thing. And it's like, when you realize, like, how valuable devil fruits are, and it's like, oh, yeah, you know, I just ate that check for $1 million.
I mean, slight spoilers. I know we said we weren't going to talk about it. We find out that particular fruit is worth like 300 million berries.
Something like that.
An insane amount of money for that particular fruit that he eats.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like, so berries are the currency in One Piece. It's berries. But I don't know. I always like kind of in my head equate it to like the value of like yen,
which is what other YouTubers have done.
Yeah. So it's like,
since it's so inflated.
Mm-hmm. It's like 100 yen is like $1-ish. It was. Now it's worth a whole lot less.
It's been fluctuating. I think it's slightly going back up, but last I recall, I think it was like about 69 yen to the dollar or something like that. I mean, it's
nice.
Yeah.
I thought it was the other way around. Like 100 yen is 69 cents because the dollar's worth more.
Yeah, sorry. Something like that, where it's, you know. Yeah, I think you're right.
It used to be a pretty even 10-1, but Japan has fallen on hard times.
Yeah, and I mean, can't really go into the business of it because I'm not as...
I can if you want. This is now a Japanese economy podcast.
Oh, God, no. No, but I know, like, just some of the channels that I see where they kind of, like, review theme park stuff, which, by the way, Universal did, like, a One Piece, I think, during the summer.
Fucking weeds.
Wish I could have gone.
And just kind of seeing the comparison of, like, yen to dollar. So some of the products, you know, there for us, it's like, oh, man, that would have been, like, a $30 thing. And for them, it's, you know, like, $20 because of the, you know, yen value. But...
import tax.
Yeah. That sucks. But anyways, back to the story. So we're talking about how Luffy ate the was it the gomu gomu fruit?
Yeah, in English they translate it as the gum gum fruit, but it's basically like rubber, like gomu in Japanese. He's made of rubber. Yeah, we'll be referencing the Four Kids dub in this a lot, just because like
That's what we grew up with.
Iconic.
That too.
Yeah. The One Piece rap is easily the best thing to come out of that. The second best thing is like Sanji's terrible accent and lollipops.
Oh, him smoking lollipops?
Lollipops. What about the gun that wasn't a gun? It was like a boxing glove on a spring.
Oh yeah. Forgot about that. It's better than in Yu-Gi-Oh! When they just straight up deleted the guns. It's like, we're gonna attack you with our invisible guns.
Their hands are just raised up. You're like, what the heck is that?
Pew pew.
Yeah. Finger guns.
Well, I mean, it's like, the whole series, or at least this part of it, this whole saga, is fairly like cartoony and like not super violent for a lot of it.
Mhm.
And then when it is, like, it really sticks out. Like we were talking about the flashback with Shanks, and it's like Luffy, gets abducted by these mountain bandits, and like the dude's like, I'm a bad dude, blah blah blah, and then like, Shanks steps in, and Lucky Roo straight up shoots a guy in the face.
Yep.
It's like,
Oh, yeah.
like right from the beginning that Shanks does not fuck around. And this becomes a recurring theme, which we'll get to later. And then Shanks gets his arm bitten off by a Sea King. But
Yeah,
But
but
like
I was
Shanks
mentioning
said,
that.
guns aren't meant to intimidate. They're meant to kill.
yeah.
So as soon as the guy pulled out a gun, that it was over for him.
Yeah.
And Shanks will protect his friends with using maximum force.
That's because Shanks is the best boy.
Yeah. Agreed.
But that's also kind of one of the things, like in the flashback, you do get to know a little bit more about Shanks and like how, he's this feared pirate, but also he's very casual, which you will start seeing it a lot in Luffy throughout the series. But it kind of brings back the idea of like, you don't want to see this person angry.
Yeah.
I've never like heard that kind of concept. That's kind of what I think about with Shanks. But that makes him very dimensional, as opposed to just, I'm big bad guy, fear me, pick guy.
Yes, because even back then, people were already comparing him due to his particular pirate ship being that of a Norse longboat. They were already saying that he was based off a Tyr with the loss of an arm and.
Mm-hmm.
And then, so a lot of the pirates in One Piece, like their names and some of their designs are references to real pirates.
Mhm.
Like Diaz Drake, way later, is referenced to Francis Scott Drake. Obviously, there's Blackbeard. We'll get to him. There are a whole bunch of other ones. Even Jewelry Bonnie was a reference to
And
Willie.
Bonnie.
Yeah, and Bonnie.
And Bonnie. The Irish pirate.
Yeah, there are a whole bunch of them mixed in there.
Which, like, you get a grasp of Oda's, research as well as just his storytelling purposes and how he's able to kind of, like, adapt historical figures into this fantasy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You get hints of it in East Blue, but there's just so much more going on, and it's just really kind of cool how he sets it up.
Mhm.
And it's like, it feels fairly almost typical, except for a few things in East Blue where it's like, island, very tropical for the most part. And, it feels like, Treasure Island kind of inspired, Disneyland sort of feel. But then, once you get to the end of the saga, it just goes way out there, incorporating other types of fantasy and settings into the world of One Piece.
Well, the world building in One Piece is masterclass. I mean, I don't know how he keeps track of everything. And there's been very, very few retcons over the years.
I think we're just kind of talking in general. So I guess, to kind of get back to Romance Dawn. So it's it's a couple episodes in the anime and a few chapters in the manga. But you have the Shanks flashback, which in the manga takes place first, I think.
Mhm.
And then you have Alvida, which is basically, Luffy fighting her on her ship and then escaping with Kobe, who's the pink-haired dude who doesn't really do a whole lot. He was shanghaied onto her crew, but he actually wants to be a Marine, so he kind of serves as a foil for Luffy, which is nice, and you get a bit of it in the manga and the anime, but they really expanded on it in the live action series, which was like pretty good overall. I have some problems with it, but I think maybe we could just do an episode on the live action.
Yeah. No, I agree.
The live action did a good one for one while still trying to retain casual and new watchers to the story, because One Piece is just so long and so massive.
Mhm.
There's no way they could have done all of East Blue.
Right.
Absolutely not.
They still didn't do all of East Blue.
Yeah, well, I think they were going to, because it was originally supposed to be 10 episodes, but Oda was like, I don't like what you're doing with this. You're going to go back to the drawing board. So they wound up cutting it down to 8 episodes because of reshoots.
Mm-hmm.
You know what though? I have to admit that that's kind of one of the things I liked with Oda being involved is one, it's still very cohesive to his original storytelling, but two, I think he understands that, you know, the One Piece as a whole series is dedication.
Mhm.
You have to be willing to watch or read the series, whichever's faster for you, I guess. Or
Reading
which one
is faster.
Reading is
or
much faster.
yes, it is. I can contest to that. But a lot of it too is just, you know, how much is an individual going to be willing to invest in this series, because it is a lot.
Right. And the live action is definitely like the easiest point of entry, I think, for a non-fan, even for a non-anime fan.
Yeah.
Like I watched it with my girlfriend who is somewhere around here. She left her spot. But yeah, we watched it, and afterwards she was like, yeah, I might want to watch the rest of One Piece. And I was like, it's 1,000 episodes.
Yeah.
Actually, it's what almost 1,200 now?
It's like 1121.
Okay. It's like I was caught up on the anime for a long time, and then I like kind of let it slip during Wano. I am caught up on the manga, at least.
Yeah, no, with the same thing with like my husband and I have mentioned One Piece, and like, you know, we've made jokes about it here and there, but there's no way he could get invested in, and I know I can't really get invested in 1,100 episodes.
Yeah, it took me a year of watching like on and off to catch up.
Yeah, it took me 3 months, but that was 3 dedicated months. I am talking 18-hour days of just watching nonstop One Piece.
So, you know, that being said, if Oda's seeing, you know, the live action, like, no, you know, you got to go back to the drawing board, you got to consolidate this a little bit. Like, that means he knows, he's aware that, you know, there are potential fans out there who just might not be able to invest that much time, but he still wants to share this story. So that I have to give him props to.
Even Oda said, Oda's assistants for the manga, he said, you have to die for One Piece. If you want to be my assistant, you have to be willing to die for One Piece. To be my assistant.
I mean, yeah, it's like the schedule they release it on is still like usually, I mean, it can be like every week, and then sometimes they go on breaks, but usually it's weekly or bi-weekly, which is crazy for that long.
Yes.
He's slowing down. He's generally not doing 4 chapters a month anymore, but it's usually within 2 or 3, and they'll take 1 or 2 weeks off.
Honestly, I'm okay with that. There are some mangakas who have followed series on from years ago, and they're nowhere near like 200, 300 chapters.
Yeah. And it's like a lot of mangakas will like work themselves into the ground just to try and keep up, like Togashi with the permanent permanent back injuries, and a bunch of others who have like wind up having to take time off for their health, or even just like pausing the series indefinitely because of it.
He's back, y'all. Togashi just released like 28 pages.
28 chapters. Holy shit. No.
28 pages of Hunter x Hunter.
Yeah.
I am not caught up on the Hunter manga.
Within the last week. It was a big deal.
But
why don't we take a break? Why don't you restart your computer before it takes off like a jet engine? And we'll just cut it.
All right, I think we're good. So after my computer trying to shit itself, back again. So, I mean, we did like a little bit of Ramnace Dawn, like the bit with Alvida. So after that, Luffy and Kobe go to Dawn Island, I think it is. where Axe Hand Morgan has this like marine base, and he's like a tyrant with an axe for a hand.
Wait, what's that? I thought it was Charlestown. I don't know.
Or maybe it was Shellstown.
But anyways, because Kobe's has a little more insight on navigation, he was able to help Luffy navigate on, was it the dinghy?
It is Shellstown.
Okay. So Kobe is able to help Luffy navigate to Shellstown. And then, as you mentioned, there's Captain Morgan's base.
Yeah.
Which, as we were speaking about prior, Captain Morgan being a known pirate, that's why.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, and he's a corrupt marine in the series. He's literally having everyone put up a giant statue of himself when Luffy shows up.
He has an iron jaw for some reason and has a giant axe for a hand.
Yep, literal axe hand. And then he has a dumbass son named Helmeppo.
Oh.
What do you mean, dumbass son? He was dancing naked with a teddy bear covering his junk in the live action.
That was hilarious.
Good thing about the live action.
That's what you came to see the live action for.
Yep.
Zoro came in and said, "Where's my swords?" Interesting.
Yeah. Well, okay, so it's like very corrupt, and like Helmeppo is causing a ton of trouble. And
yeah, he has a pack of wolves that follow him around and do his bidding.
And then like Axe Hand Morgan will just regularly like execute people. And so Zoro, we meet him. He's strung up in the yard because he's made a bet with Helmeppo, I think, that he can last, what, like 30 days?
A month without eating or drinking, being crucified in like the middle of the marine yard.
Yeah, in the base, yeah. Because like he attacked Helmeppo, I think.
He
punched him,
defended
right?
the little girl
Yeah.
who was about to be attacked by the wolf.
Yep.
And
So
he killed the wolf.
So it's like right away, you know that Zoro's like a good guy.
Relatively, because his face does not portray good guy.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And then he's like
And
he's
at the
known
head,
as
yeah.
he's known as the pirate hunter. Well, he's a bounty hunter.
Yeah, I was saying he's a bounty guy.
And he only became a bounty hunter because he lost his way. Ha ha ha, the Zoro joke. He lost his way on how to get home, so he needed to make money, so he became a bounty hunter.
Yeah. Because he is kind of a dumbass, just like Luffy, but in a different way. Luffy immediately asked him to join his crew, and he's like, "I'm a pirate hunter. Why do you want me on a pirate crew?"
And he's just like, yes.
Like, Luffy will routinely just ask random ass characters to join his crew.
Yep, doesn't matter what they look like or what they do or how strong they are. He's like, "You're weird. I like you. Join my crew."
He even does that to just like a zombie at some point.
Random animals.
Yep.
That's usually kind of the joke about it, though, is he just goes up to people and he goes, just join my crew.
Yeah.
But I will say, I'll give him the benefit of the doubt, he usually does find people that he knows that, you know, he has a weakness on. Like, he's weak on navigating, so he needs himself a navigator for sure. He can't cook. He gets himself a chef. So
He can't sword, because that's Zoro's job on the crew is swordsman.
Yes.
yeah.
Not first mate. Nothing else, just
Yeah.
swordsman.
I mean, like, Zoro is like,
He's the muscle.
he's the muscle. He's like technically first mate, but like he
Vice
doesn't officially have the
captain,
he
Yeah.
doesn't officially have the title, but he basically is.
Like, generally, when Luffy's not around, he'll take charge.
Yep.
True.
So Luffy winds up knocking over Axe Hand Morgan's statue, and they get in a fight, and it's fun. Yeah, it's like, and I'm rewatching it, like the most recent time I did, it was just so much fun. Like, that's something I kind of miss about the series originally. Like, right now, we're so deep into the plot where it's like, I kind of miss just like the fucking around kind of
The
stuff.
goofiness of it.
Yeah.
You have to think back in the East Blue Saga, according to the normal people, having a devil fruit's like 1 in a million. So Luffy is already considered
A
like an
weirdo.
anomaly. Yeah.
Yeah.
No one at the time of East Blue really has a devil fruit. I think we meet like 3 or 4 people in the entirety of East Blue. If there's Luffy, Alvida, Buggy,
Alvida, Buggy, yeah, and it's like Alvida doesn't
And
get one to
Smoker.
Smoker, yeah. So we'll get to those. But yeah, at the end of Romance Dawn, Kobe does wind up joining the Marines.
But so kind of going back to that, so we have the whole crucified Zoro, and then Luffy asking him to kind of join his team, and then Luffy fighting Captain Morgan, and then also knocking out Helmeppo because he tried to use Kobe as like a bargaining chip, I guess, because he had like a gun to his freaking head, which I think was it in the Four Kids was the fist.
He had the weird cartoony contraption.
Yeah.
It's a good thing that Funimation went back into their own dub.
Yeah,
It's much better.
But then thankfully Luffy was able to get Zoro his swords, so he's able to kind of show his specialty, which is the three-sword style.
The three-sword style.
You mentioned that Zoro was going to get executed. I don't even know if he mentioned
Helmeppo was like lying and was going to go back on his word.
Helmeppo was going to eventually just execute him, which he didn't know. Obviously, he was crucified.
Mm-hmm.
Then Luffy, right before he got gunned down, firing squad style, Luffy jumped in front of him and with his rubber body was able to deflect all the bullets, which is how they found out he was a devil fruit user.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. And then he was able to have pretty decent battle with Morgan, and then
and that's where Zoro made his vow.
Yeah.
Yep.
But then also, you realize how corrupt Captain Morgan was to the point that, like, after he's defeated, Helmeppo's gotten punched out, or his lights are knocked out. The rest of the Marines are just like, oh, all right, okay,
yep.
Yeah.
Morgan goes to jail at some point. Like you see him later on, like in jail.
Yeah.
He escapes.
Does he?
Yeah, that might be later. He escapes and steals Helmeppo. Helmeppo's his hostage.
Oh,
I think that's a cover story thing.
Yep. But, I mean, Helmeppo does come back, though, later. So does Kobe. Mm-hmm. Yeah, because Kobe winds up joining the Marines at the end.
And so does they join at the same time, Helmeppo and Kobe.
Right. Mm-hmm. Okay, that's what it was.
And they're trained by that guy who has a name.
Yeah, I mean, like, in the manga and the anime, you don't meet him till later, but then, like, they introduce him in the live action, and... Yeah. Anyway. But after that, we go to... Or Zoro and Luffy go to Orange Town.
Yes.
Where they meet...
Nami.
Who's
been, like, walking around. Yeah.
She's been in the
background. Yeah, trying to steal stuff, and, like, she was also trying to... steal charts from the Marine base, like charts of the Grand Line, but it becomes like a whole big thing in the live action. But anyway, so in Orange Town, it's like totally destroyed. They're like, "What happened here?" And it turns out it's the Buggy Pirates. I fucking love Buggy. He's so great.
Even in the live action, Buggy was pretty cool.
Yeah,
like I didn't think he was gonna have that cool of a role, but.
Mm-hmm.
He did good.
He's so ridiculous. I love him.
It's still like, even though he looks ridiculous, it's, he still is someone to kind of fear.
Yeah.
And I like how they played that.
Zoro can't cut him, obviously, because he's a chop person, having eaten the chop fruit.
He's immune to getting sliced.
Yeah. And it's like Luffy gets stabbed by him, because that is Luffy's vulnerability as a rubber person.
Mm-hmm. Luffy is invulnerable to blunt damage, but can take slicing damage.
Yeah. I do, like, there's a whole lot going on, but I will say, like, my favorite part is just, like, the way that Luffy beats Buggy is, like, his head is detached, or his, like, top half, and then Luffy just goes up and kicks him in the crotch.
So Buggy can essentially fly, pseudo-fly, if his feet are on the ground, he can float away from his feet.
Yeah, like the top half of his body.
That's still kind of an interesting concept, but I mean, I can see how that would be useful.
It's like he has like a range. They like explore that later, but it's a pretty useful power.
He's not technically flying.
It's
essentially fly.
Basically is.
It's like gravitating around his body, I guess. I don't know.
And we meet some of the rest of Buggy's crew who are also like really funny weirdos.
Yes, the swordsman who is on a unicycle.
Yes.
Like
Yep.
Zorro.
Yeah, they're all like circus themed.
Yeah, they're all circus.
There's like the lion tamer guy with Richie, his lion.
Whose hair changes depending on the arc.
Yeah.
And so does the lion's hair.
Mm-hmm. It's really funny. And then there's like, you know, the story with like the people that actually live in Orangetown with like the mayor and the dog, and I don't really care about that.
You don't care about Chow Chow?
Dog.
No.
The Chow Chow.
No.
Yeah, I mean, come
The
on.
dog's like really annoying, honestly, how it like eats the key and like
Yeah, that part I didn't understand why he did that, but I mean, he would like for me I kind of thought of like Hachiko, like the story of like the
Oh,
loyal
yeah.
dog. And so that's kind of what I think about with him. But yeah, I never understood the key part. He was just like, "Oh, you need this? No, 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 no."
I think like Orangetown is like a pretty basic kind of arc, and like the only thing that makes it good is just the inclusion of Buggy and his crew.
You know what? That's also the introduction of Nami.
Yeah.
that's
The
true.
navigator.
And I mean, technically, it is kind of a vital point because we see her in the background at the beginning, and you know that she makes eye contact with Luffy at the very beginning. So you know, like, oh, symbolism. That's gonna, they're gonna know each other down the road.
But Nami also hates pirates.
Yeah,
Yes.
she always
Due
steals
to-
from pirates.
Things we'll get into, but
Yeah,
she hates pirates and she gets to like Luffy and Zoro because they're not your typical pirates.
Yeah,
Or-
that's important for the rest of the
You know,
story. I
I don't
think.
care about civilians. I don't care about this. And Luffy and Zoro are like friends who are doing good.
Yeah, for the most,
Kind
like
of.
they're saving, like they got rid of Axan Morgan, and they're
Mhm.
like saving the people of Orangetown. And they said no to when the dude offered them treasure, I think, or they left Buggy's treasure for the people of Orangetown to rebuild.
technically, I think they left Nami's treasure.
Yeah,
She was
she was so pissed. Oh, that was great.
But you get the introduction of Nami when she kind of uses Luffy to be like, "Oh, hey, Buggy, let me kind of join your guys' crew. Here's this guy I tied up, and here's a copy of the map that you totally are looking for."
Yep. Oh, it's pretty funny. Just how Buggy's like, all right, I don't suspect this at all.
Yeah, right. But
And then like,
legit.
and then you find out that Buggy knows Shanks from when they were kids. They were both cabin boys on the same crew. It doesn't say which crew, but that does become important later. But it's like
Yeah.
Buggy finds his devil fruit and pretends to eat it because he wants to just sell it and get rich because his whole thing is he wants money.
Buggy
Yeah.
is a true pirate.
Yeah.
And he's one of the true pirates of One Piece.
Yep.
Who actually wants money, fame, and fortune.
Yep. And then like he winds up accidentally eating his devil fruit.
Yeah, because of Shanks.
Yeah, because Shanks like sneaks up on him and he like hides it in his mouth and swallows it.
Just throat goes that whole apple.
Yeah.
Whatever fruit it was, just throat goes.
Glizzy guzzling.
Listen,
Oh.
I mean, I'm just saying, respect, man. Just
Yeah.
gotta respect that. No gag reflex.
Mm-hmm. And then, of course, Shanks winds up saving Buggy's life because with the devil fruit, you lose your ability to swim. And of course, Buggy didn't know this. And Shanks saves him, but Buggy is still pissed off because he lost his fortune because of Shanks, supposedly. And when really it was just Buggy being a
I
dumbass.
would say, yeah, like, that's my first instinct is when someone comes up behind me to just shove things in my mouth.
Or when someone saves you, you get mad at them.
How dare you? No, but I do like that introduction and then also just kind of how everything kind of is interconnected, and considering how expansive the series is, everything is connected some way or another.
Yep, it's like Buggy just becomes like a recurring antagonist, but he's also like tied into the background of the story too.
Buggy is the character that fails upwards.
Yes,
Every arc, he
in the
fails
best
upwards.
way. It's just because like he is like so arrogant and like
He rolled. His strengths are charisma, and he always rolls natural 20s.
yep.
Yeah.
It's like he fails at everything else, but like somehow he comes out on top.
and I know we'll probably get to it, but the little side story. So one of the ways he gets defeated is when he splits up. Nami's able to bind his body parts so that when he does kind of reconnect, he's just this side with
midget
and feet.
Oh my god, yeah.
This tiny buggy, and then Luffy's just like punch.
Yeah.
Punches him out to sea.
Yeah.
He eventually collides with Alvida.
Yep.
Yes, but I would say before he gets it, because and I know this is kind of going a little off topic, but when he goes to all these separate islands, it's kind of like a filler, I guess.
Yeah.
Dude, it's technically part of the One Piece cover stories.
Yes,
But they included it in the anime.
But when he meets was it Gaimon or
Daimon.
Gaimon? Yeah.
Both just short guys.
Yeah, they're just both tiny guys, and then they bond with each other. But anyways, I'm getting too ahead of myself.
So one more thing about the Orange Island, the Orange Town arc,
yeah.
is we don't get any real sense of urgency for Luffy's hat until Orange Town.
Yeah.
That's where he tells Nami, "Don't touch my hat. It's my treasure. Never touch my hat."
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
During the fight with Buggy, the hat gets damaged. And this is kind of a side thing. The hat gets damaged. And like I said, Nami hates pirates, but she gets to like Zoro and Luffy. So she fixes the hat for Luffy and attaches a string to it so it doesn't fly off of his head, which is something that happened in the cover story. It's never mentioned in the anime. The little string that she attaches.
Oh, okay.
But it does fly off of his head at some point.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
having the string was never part of the hat originally. So
yeah.
And that's pretty good symbolism to let her know how much she's willing to open up to these guys, which makes for it when it goes down to
I thought that was important to specify. That's where the hat became a crucial thing.
Yeah.
I mean, in the Shanks flashback, you do see him give it to Luffy.
Yeah,
though.
but I mean,
they didn't have the string on it.
In terms of the other characters knowing how important the hat is to Luffy.
Oh, okay.
Because if not, he's just wearing a straw hat. They don't know that it came from Shanks. I don't even think he name dropped Shanks until way, way in the future.
Yeah, people were like, "Oh shit!"
You know that guy.
And even then, when you think about it too, is again, I was mentioning how it's you see her opening up to him, and you see that bond that they start creating.
Very sibling-like.
Yeah. But if she really wanted to, it would have been just damage. She's like, all right, well, sucks for you. Just buy another one.
Exactly. It's just a hat.
But when she realizes, oh no, this means something to you.
Yep.
And she, goes out of her way to fix it. And she didn't have to.
Yep. A lot of good character development early on.
Mm-hmm.
I do think Nami shines a lot early on in the series, and then kind of gets ignored later on.
Yeah.
Great when her chest is small, and then it gets bigger, and she's not that great of a character.
Yeah. Same with someone else who we'll talk about later.
But okay.
Nami looked normal once.
Yeah.
When she was a child, about 16 or something like that.
Yeah, I think so.
Because Luffy's the youngest.
Yeah, I think Luffy's only 14 or 15 when the series starts. And Nami's a year or two older than him. And then Zoro and
Sanji are the older ones. He's blue.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've already kind of recapped with
Orange Town. So then it's Syrup Village, which is my least favorite arc.
Skip that? Can we just get to the kill points?
We can at least touch base on it.
Michael Jackson was there. They got
Yeah, okay. So Syrup Village is the introduction of Usopp, who, he's the dude with the long nose and the slingshot. And he's pretty annoying when the series starts out.
Yeah, he does get better as the series progresses.
To me,
I think he's a little bit cooler.
It's he's cool in certain parts, and then way later you're like, oh, cool, Usopp learned stuff, and then he's more annoying as it goes on again.
Usopp is meant to be us, the typical non-superhuman human who has superhuman abilities, because he tanks hits like no other. even though he's supposed to be just an average Joe.
Yeah. So it's like they go to his village, and it's basically like the boy who cried wolf.
Yes, Usopp is everything. He's Yasopp, he's David, he's Pinocchio.
So it's like, he's always saying, the pirates are coming. And, the village is just sick of him, and they don't believe him anymore. Except for, like, the 3 little kids that are part of the Usopp pirates.
Mm-hmm. And Kaya.
So the rich girl with the mansion, and they're, like, kind of into each other.
Basically.
Yeah.
The princess and the pauper?
I mean, I guess.
Same thing. Rich girl, slum kid.
Yeah. So Aladdin,
Yeah.
But I know we made brief mention about it before they land on Syrup Village, is when they go onto that random island where they see Gaimon.
Oh, Gaimon.
Yeah.
So Gaimon is like a dude that like got stuck in a treasure chest, so he's like permanently squatting. Like he's like looks like a dwarf with like a bush afro.
Green afro.
Yeah.
Green afro. And it's like he wanted to like get these treasure chests that were at the top of this mountain.
Which isn't even a mountain.
Yeah.
It's just a very tall hill.
And then like, Luffy and Zoro and Nami are like, we'll get those for you. And they wind up being empty.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, I spent this whole time for nothing, but I like it here. So I'm staying, and I'm staying in this box.
And I mean, he's pretty much just a Disney princess at this point because he befriends all the animals on the island. So I just thought that was a funny nod because we did reference him when Buggy like ends up on the island. They're like, hey, we're both small guys.
Yeah.
Friends. But anyways, they land over on Syrup Village where they meet Usopp, his 3 little mini pirate guys or pirate kids. And I mean, it's not very impactful. It's just you get his story. You learn about
his mom.
His dad.
Yeah, his dad was a pirate who left, and then his mom died before he came back.
And the reason why Usopp kept saying the pirates were coming is he was hoping that one day his dad would make it back to see his mom before she passed away, and then never did. And so he's just like, well, I'm going to keep doing it until eventually he'll come back and he'll get me.
Never forget, Yasopp's best dad. The entire series.
Yeah, you do find out in East Blue that Usopp's dad was actually a member of Shanks's crew, and his name is Yasopp, and he is one of the worst fathers in One Piece.
Yes. And it's like the only time Luffy's ever smart in East Blue. He's like, wait a second, your name rhymes with Yasopp.
Mm-hmm.
Is he your dad?
Yeah. And then, like, so Usopp is friends with Kaya, and then, like, this other dude is trying to, like, take advantage of Kaya because he's another true pirate, just wants the money. Like, Kuro, yeah.
Off X-Hand Morgan.
I forgot about that.
To basically say he's dead. So X-Hand Morgan got promoted to captain due to that weird, for killing
Kuro, the captain of the Black Cat Pirates.
The 1,000 hands or 1,000
knives. Yeah. I don't know.
I just remember it was like Black Cat Pirates.
Flahador.
The
butler.
But I just remember that with Kuro he had, and his crew was Django, the hypnotist.
Yeah.
Jackson.
Yes. And he got him to hypnotize another Marine into thinking that he was Kuro, so that way he would get assassinated. And again,
and it's like basically he wants to do the whole Dread Pirate Roberts thing where he just makes a bunch of money and then retires.
Yeah. And so in order to do that, he needs to
steal it from Kaya, basically, have her write him into her will, and then kill her.
It's inferred that he killed her parents, and then he's slowly poisoning Kaya.
Yep.
Because she doesn't get the inheritance until she's 18.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Basically, Syrup Village is the worst arc in East Blue.
Yeah,
and
easily.
Like when I first started watching the series, it made me drop it. It's way too long. It's kind of slow and like really kind of stupid in parts. Like, so the Black Cat pirates are like invading the island, but they're kind of sneaking in from the back in this like, little cove. And so
Really
because
cool.
they're outnumbered, the Straw Hats like dump a bunch of oil on the hill so they can't like run up it. But then Luffy falls down that hill and can't get back up, and he spends like 3 episodes going up and down that hill.
Like he just can't go. I don't know.
It's like, oh my god.
Yeah,
that's
no.
because Luffy's just too strong in East Blue. No one can really stop him, so they have to make ways for him to not be in the fight for
Yeah,
a period
and
of
it's
time.
like you get a lot of that later in the series too, like stupid ways of sidelining him.
Mm-hmm. But I mean, overall, yeah, it wasn't necessarily one of my favorites either. But I mean, it is vital because without introducing like, Usopp and
Kaya.
and all them, we never get the Going Merry.
Yeah, that's the most important part because Kaya's parents owned a shipbuilding business.
Mhm.
And
The other butler, the good one,
Mary.
yeah, they named it after him.
Well, I mean,
It was
also-
already named.
Oh no, he named it after
Yeah.
himself. That's what it was.
and he designed it kind of off
Yeah,
himself.
he was like
he looks
like
like
a
a goat or sheep man.
I would say, isn't he like a goat man or something?
Mhm.
He's like yeah.
Yeah.
And so he doesn't.
One Piece is weird because there's characters that have animal characteristics. But they're not minks, which we learn about later. They're just humans that look like animals.
Yeah,
With
they're.
no real reason as to why.
I think that was just because Oda like hadn't like formulated that
But
point.
there's more along the way before we even run into that
Yeah.
subcategory of species that have weird animal.
I mean, by the time we meet, it's minor spoilers. By the time we meet Kuma, we're like, "What's going on with you? Why do you have bear ears?"
I mean,
turns out to be Fathead.
Yeah,
I still don't know how I feel about that one.
Oda
Yeah.
can do what he wants. It's his story.
I mean,
Yeah.
yes, true. But I was gonna say the other person who was kind of like that too is from Buggy's crew.
Oh yeah, the
Yeah.
guy with the
lion
lion
guy.
tamer.
Yeah, because at least in the manga, I remember that was one of the earlier chapters I remember reading where he's just, I'm like, what the heck?
Because he has like a mane with
Mhm.
lion ears.
With lion ears,
Mhm.
and I would say, side note, Syrup Village is, I think, one of the ones where I actually have like a Shonen Jump copy of, and
Sad.
yeah.
Wow, this is worthless.
Yeah.
Also, can we?
No, my boy, it's less than
Yes. If you've
worthless.
never seen One Piece, Usopp is a sniper, but he doesn't use a gun. He uses a slingshot
Yeah.
with random arsenal that he makes himself.
Yep.
I mean, that gives two purposes. One, it shows that he's not as violent.
Mhm.
He's more to just try to get someone to like incapacitate them, but not kill them.
Yeah, like he has one that's like hot sauce.
Yeah,
Yeah. And but it also says, it kind of shows that he's like the tech guy.
but it's also
Yeah.
going back to he's David versus
Yes.
Goliath because
Yeah.
he uses a slingshot.
Which gets important later.
Yes.
But yeah, so Syrup Village, they save Kaya, they get Usopp and the Going Merry, and then they move on to Baratier.
If you don't like our take on Syrup Village, write us in the comments. Sam
it.
will reply.
Of course. You know it. I'll fight any of you bitches anytime.
So since the East Blue is so long, we're actually going to cut it into 2 parts. Please catch us in part 2, where we'll be discussing.
We're going to talk about Variety Arc, Arlong Park, and Lockdown.
So make sure to tune in. It'll be up soon. And
Farewell from Weebkend.
yep, farewell from Weebkend, your favorite anime podcast. Trash taste does not apply.
Bye, everyone.